Hey y'all, it's Smitty here. It's coming to you guys with a first of three installments of videos, basically breaking down these three games. Um, as we have most recently seen upon the release of Backbreaker, people have really looked at this game to be the complete Madden destroyer and overtake all of football with its first installment. And a lot of people are disappointed. A lot of people are happy at the same time. But on the overall, this is something that you have to pay attention to, and this is something that me and Brozales had spoke about basically. And what it is that this is the first installment, and that's how you really have to judge it, as its first installment on the next gen console. Just like just like with Madden, you have to look at it from the Madden '06 perspective. So this is my first installment here. I'm talking about EA Sports here, and then the other two videos will be talking about 2K, the All Pro Football 2K8, since they only had the one installment thus far, and the most recent release, Backbreaker. So have a few clips here, like I said. The next gen trailer, the infamous next gen trailer. Ian Cummings giving a little commentary about being able to expand uh, on the next gen console, also with some gameplay and then some review clips from IGN as well as from GameSpot as well. So check it out, and then I'll have some commentary once it plays through.
Madden, NFL, next gen, product not yet rated. EA Sports.
Producer on animation and gameplay for Madden Next Gen. With the number of animations in game this year, we really wanted to get the variety that wasn't there in current gen, that we were just limited to. A screen pass versus a fade pass versus a deep, medium, short, all these types of variation we just never had the ability to do in current gen, and we could easily do in next gen. So we pretty much tripled the variety of animations throughout the game. When you think about tackles, broken tackles, passes, catches, every type of category, we tripled.
The surprise with the sound design is the inexplicable absence of John Madden as a game commentator. This may be a welcome change for some of you who have grown tired of Maddenisms. But while the commentator does an adequate job, the lack of Madden in his own game is just another sign of how haphazard this installment is.
And looking to pass. Simpson, short throw complete to the wide receiver.
Madden '06 launched with the Xbox 360 as promised. However, the hype that this would be the revolutionary next-gen sports game was unfounded. It's a streamlined, but better-looking version of the Xbox Madden that came out earlier this year. It's still a fun game to play against your friends, but when your biggest improvements are updated visuals and better control of your kickoffs, it's not saying much.
Awful lot. You can see a lot more detail in the crowds, and the sideline players, and all that stuff also has tons of detail in it. The inherent flaw to all of that, though, is that there's also a lot of holdover problems from the old Madden games that just kind of haven't really been fixed here. Like just sort of the way the linemen will kind of glitch out here and there, sort of buzzing around when they're trying to find someone to block. And there's just, a lot of other little kind of just unpleasant things in here that just stick out a lot more on a next-gen console than they would on any of the other platforms this game exists on. Because so much care and attention went into just sort of like making the graphics as good as they are, the most memorable stuff you'll find in the game is just on-the-field action. It plays so much like Madden. There really isn't that much different about it. But just playing the game plays like Madden, and the look, you know, just the way that everything animates, there's all these new tackle animations, catches, throws, all that stuff. It just looks a lot more realistic. The problem is with all that there are things that are missing. A lot of the favorite features from, you know, the other versions of Madden NFL 06, like, you know, the mini camp mode, practice mode, some of the online mini games, that's all gone. There's just no sign of it anywhere. The franchise mode, totally different. It's like, it's basically a franchise mode from like 3 or 4 years ago. And you just kind of go through and do the stuff, and it just doesn't really have much snap to it, not much pizzazz, not much flash. Same thing with the online play. It's just real straight ahead. You challenge them, they challenge you. That's it. That's pretty much the online. A couple of little improvements have been made to the gameplay here and there, but they're really minor things. Like, for instance, the whole new play calling menu is pretty cool. You can kind of, you know, you can select play types, ask Madden, ask coach, and you can even like select individual players. If you want to get the ball to Randy Moss or something, you can do that. There's also a new kick meter, which is basically the same kick meter that 2K Sports introduced, you know, years ago. It's a little bit different, but it's the same kind of concept with the moving air and whatnot. That's neat and everything, but, you know, considering exactly how much had to be cut out of this game, that seems like the last thing that any developer should be worrying about is improving the kick meter. When you think about it, it's really hard to say, yes, you should pay $60 for this new version of Madden, just because there are other versions of Madden out there on all the other platforms that have a hell of a lot more in the game than this one does. See, it's a great looking game, but there's just so many little things that will, you know, they'll kind of nag at you, especially if you just buy this game and are like, oh wow, the graphics are really pretty. Hey, that looks kind of nasty, and oh wait, there's not really anything else to do in this game. Okay. One way or another, if you're buying a 360, you like football, you should at least check out Madden NFL 06. If only just because it's worth it just to see what they've done with the graphics, what things are going to look like from here on out, how the, you know, and you can just kind of sit there and think about how things are going to get even better over time. You probably shouldn't buy this game though, just because it just doesn't have an awful lot to offer you for very long.
So as you can see here, you know, the gameplay, like from these games, are really very. They were highly flawed. They were, you know, they seem to be underdeveloped in comparison to its counterparts on the lower gen consoles, on the Xbox and PS2 versions, as you've heard from the reviewers. And as you can see here, this game does not resemble the next gen trailer, the hyped up trailer that they said, that they claimed that was going to be the game that you were going to play. This game does not resemble that in the least bit. You know what I'm saying? It didn't resemble it at all. And I mean, while these guys gave generous ratings, because I think IGN gave it an 8 and GameSpot gave it a 7.2 or a 7.4, but one of their main conglomerates now, you know, back then, Operation Sports, they gave this game a 5 out of 10. So that's really saying a lot. Now, as soon as they got branded with the EA tag on their behind, all of a sudden now Madden's the greatest game ever. But they gave it a 5 out of 10. So I mean, and this is just another example of a trailer they have put out saying that, you know, this is going to be Madden 06. You know what I mean? I know some of y'all recall it, but once again, you look at this and you look at that gameplay clip, and it's nothing like that at all. So these guys have been basically giving a lot of lip service, and this was basically the preface, Madden 06, of the lip service, you know, the lip service movement, where they basically pump up all, you know, they pump you up thinking they're going to fix the gameplay and make these adjustments so the game reacts realistic, but only realistic thing that they ever done was just add a lot of cosmetic features to the game. You know, which both of the reviewers equally said the game in terms of the animations, the players coming out the tunnels, the player models, the rendered stadiums, it all looked very nice, very glossy and all that. But the gameplay lacked heavily. And they didn't even have the ability to challenge plays in the game. So that lets you know they didn't have the ability to challenge plays. They took out the mini camp games. They took out there was no season mode. and at the same time you had a franchise mode which was bare bone. So the game was basically bone dry. It said the online play feature was bone dry as well. So I mean that just lets you know these guys didn't come out the cannon full steam ahead like they had claimed and they had promoted. So that's the first part. I'm gonna conclude it there, and I'll be coming at y'all with part 2 where I'll be talking about 2K. All right, all pro football 2K. All right, y'all. Peace.